Trump makes his way to Peru. U.S. Presidential candidate Donald Trump landed in Peru last night and has already made his way to the Inca Citadel before Donald Trump's next scheduled appearance. The presidential candidate has decided to take some time for himself and his family. Yesterday the candidate was spotted touring the famous Machu Picchu and stated that he will also visit Lake Titicaca because his close friend, Katy Perry, had inspired him. It's not clear how long Trump plans to stay in the Andean nation, but his assistant commented that the presidential hopeful will make his way to the City of Kings to visit U.S. Ambassador Brian Nichols to discuss the elections. Trump may be trying to one-up last year's visit from U.S. politician John Kerry, who visited Nichols to discuss a free trade agreement last year. Trump hopes to have a mini-campaign in Lima to promote himself among U.S. expats. Lima's traffic. Honk if you hear me. Complaints about Lima traffic are constant. Does it sound any sweeter coming from someone new to the city? For those of you who have never been to Lima, there will be many sights and sounds that shock your senses before you enjoy the beauty of Peru's capital city. At the top of this list is the city's noise pollution that is caused by the city's auto inhabitants, and by that I don't mean the guys swinging from the open van doors yelling, "Acho acho," but rather the drivers themselves who have an affinity for unnecessary horn honking. Lima has some of the worst traffic in the world. At first you may believe it's a result of poor driving or near-death experiences. However, the more you navigate the streets, the more you realize it's not that at all. Here in Lima, you must use your horn at all times, and if you don't, I'm not sure I would trust you driving me through this city. Here's a list that breaks down the appropriate use of your horn. Saying hello before changing lanes. Expressing your anger while being cut off before cutting people off. Coming up on an intersection, indicating your taxi is available, and saying goodbye. These are the instances that come to mind, although I have no doubt there are many more that apply. Most impressive about the nature of the honking is that everyone seems to execute these moves perfectly, like a salsa dance before one too many cascanas. Although many of the cars in Lima have dents, rarely will you see an accident firsthand. Driving itself becomes an exhilarating game that heightens the senses, as there is no room for the weak. My first full day driving in Peru started off cautiously with an occasional honk just to feel like I fit in. By the end of the night I had a master's degree in honk talk, ready to take on cab fares if need be. So although you may first be overwhelmed by the sound of a horn that usually symbolizes caution, fear not, Lima has the most cautious drivers around. 5 things about technology in Peru. From mining to drones, here are 5 things you might not have known about technology in Peru. Mining, fishing and agro-industry. Peru's main output comes from extractives, but this doesn't mean they are primitive. It requires tens of thousands of skillful workers and professionals capable of handling such massive tasks and operating the appropriate hardware and software. For this purpose, there are various national universities with a long tradition in these fields of expertise, allowing both national and foreign investors to have the human assets to bring forward great projects. Apps for public services. One of the most criticized points of Peru's government is the massive bureaucracy at every level of the state, the result of decades of mismanagement and statist policies. To deal with this, many public institutions have developed not just websites but apps which allow the citizens to access in real time to queries, procedures and other various operations through mobile devices, protecting them from fraud and poor care. Software and web development. In recent years there has been a boom in the emergence of web in Peru, with our own website being a good example. There has also been many companies and universities investing in areas and people dedicated to the development of educational and entertainment software, some of them taking advantage of the rich and unique cultural background of this nation to build interesting apps and video games. Big technological companies. Believe it or not, there is a major office of IBM in Lima, Peru. This company and others, such as Cisco and Microsoft, have been helping the nation of many years, working in concert to keep up the technological infrastructure of the developing country. Since their role is tech-driven, they haven't had many major problems with any government of Peru, as no ideology can outmatch the need for things such as fast computers and good electronic networks, mechatronics and drones. Like in many other countries around the world, Peru has started to take more interest in the development and practical uses of robots, being it for public security, surveillance or industry. Nowadays, many educational institutions have developed robot programs with degrees of complexity for different targets, from kids to professionals. Also, the Congress has published new laws to regulate the overuse of drones. Peru inaugurates new Pisco International Airport. President Humala was present at the new modern airport's inauguration in Pisco, located in the southern Ica region of Peru. The newly constructed Pisco International Airport was inaugurated by President Humala yesterday. The president emphasized that not only will the airport bring developments to the region, but other infrastructure projects as well will benefit Ica natives. There is a development plan for Ica. This nationalist administration has a clear development vision for Ica. Quote, President Humala emphasized according to Andina news agency. The Minister of Transport and Communications, Jose Gallardo, said that the road, port and infrastructure-related projects are bound to bring social changes to locals. This is aimed at fostering growth in the region and is part of a portfolio of works, of a set of transport and communications infrastructure projects that determines a new generation of development, explained the minister. The airport required an estimated investment of $44.38 million to complete. More modern airports similar to those in Lambayeque, Piar and now Pisco's are planned to be constructed in more regions throughout the country. PPK and Verónika Mendoza in statistical tie for second place, says Datum survey. In the latest Datum survey, PPK and Verónika Mendoza recorded a slight difference in the voting intention. Pedro Pablo Kuczynski, PPK, presidential candidate for Peruvians for Change, earned 16% of the voting intention in the latest Datum survey. Verónika Mendoza, presidential candidate for Broad Front, earned 14.8% of the voting intention, making their difference only 1.3%. According to this Datum survey conducted by Pisco, Peru, the two candidates are in a statistical tie for second place in the 2016 voting intentions. This registers as a great surprise for multiple factors. In addition to being in a statistical tie with PPK, Mendoza has advanced to a distance of 5 percentage points ahead of Popular Action candidate Alfredo Barnechea, 9.3%. Additionally, the Datum survey informs that Keiko Fujimori maintains first place with 36% of the total voting intention. Alan Garcia, former Peru president, fell to 3.4%. Gregorio Santos earned 2.1%. And Alejandro Toledo, another former president, counts 9% of the voting intention. Elections are scheduled for April 10.